The word on the street is that former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Joseph Parker, could be making his return fight against Bryant Jennings, the American, on the 18th of August. I think it's penciled in for at the moment, possibly in Atlantic City. It will be his first big return fight after his loss to Anthony Joshua against a guy who's 33, and while he may have had the prime knocked out of him by Luis Ortiz, Bryant Jennings always shows up in shape, just got some moves, is a well-rounded fighter, and is a pretty credible opponent to come back against after a big loss like that by Parker. In fairness to Parker, he's never one who's looked for any soft spots since the fight against Takam when he really stepped up his competition. He hasn't shied away from challenges, which is one of his big bonuses, I think, one of the things very much to like about him as a fighter. It has to be said, before this potential return fight happens, of course, the aftermath of the big Joshua loss. He's refusing to get rid of Kevin Barry. Parker is very much a fighter who I think everyone can agree, similar to kind of how George Groves, say, isn't the same fighter as he used to be. Pretty much everyone can agree that Parker has plateaued with Barry. Probably as early as the Takam fight, that would have been the ideal time to go, look, okay, we've reached where we can go here in terms of what I can teach you. We've plateaued a bit here. That was a flat performance. You need to get somebody else to just give a spark in the camp, show you some different moves, and really start getting the most out of you. This idea that, oh, you know, he's like family, I'm not getting rid of him, it just shows you that family and business do not work. The very best people, whether it's in boxing or business, you make necessary sacrifices to get the absolute best out of your career. That's something Parker is not willing to do because of these close ties to the team around him. I think that's ultimately going to prove an anchor for the rest of his career. This is essentially the second stage of his career now after the Joshua loss, but I don't think he's basically not willing to do the main thing to help his career to get the most out of it, and that natural raw talent he has with speed and toughness, by getting rid of Kevin Barry. But hey, what can you do? We'll probably keep saying this, and it's just, you know, it's going to remain the status quo. But Bryant Jennings is a good opponent to come back against. Some people will be picking Jennings to beat Parker. A lot of people don't think much about Parker. I think the most important thing for the Kiwi is to try and have an exciting fight here, because unfortunately, after the exciting early days we had with him, where he seemed to have more knockout power and was getting guys out of there, after the Takam fight, there was a lot of flat performances, too many. The Kajano fight was hard to forgive, and then the Joshua fight, Joshua was a bit to blame as well. He was reticent, he was conscious of the amount of wealth he has and all the belts that were on the line. But again, Parker didn't really get stuck into the degree he needed to, and the word boring has been attached to him quite a few times now. He needs to try and knock that out of the ring in this occasion. I don't think Jennings is polished enough or quite good enough at controlling the distance to keep Parker away. Parker, the younger man, who should still have some strong ambitions at this point, should be able to get stuck in, possibly get him out of there in the later stages of the fight. But I myself am starting to doubt his overall power, and I think he will probably win on points in a good scrap, a dangerous one, but a good scrap to have back. How do you see this fight going?